So, y'all, I'm sitting out here, and I don't even know where the fuck. Somewhere in the fucking mountains of Maryland. I'm in the mountains, and I wanted to come in here and talk to y'all while I wait on this load. I'm gonna deal with a couple of things while I'm sitting here. Firstly, my issue with Juneteenth. Now, before you already go ahead and go ham on me, just hear me out. On a live show, someone had asked me a question. It was a few weeks back about Juneteenth, and I told them I don't really celebrate anything. I do understand that people who do celebrate Juneteenth, is typically a day where people are going to be proud to be black for a second. You know what I'm saying? We like to have those little moments, but if you're like that every day, then essentially you're celebrating Juneteenth every day. If that's how you're celebrating Juneteenth, is by just wearing pro-black paraphernalia, putting up pro-black posts, putting up the history and things like that. If you do that every day, then, it's kind of like, I kind of do this every day, B. You know what I'm saying? And for those of you who don't know, Juneteenth is a celebration of the end of chattel slavery in America. 3Ks don't get this shit fucked up. Incorporated, June 19th, 1865. And it was really the Emancipation Proclamation, which took place on January 1st, 1863. But Texas, old bitch ass, racist ass Texas, act like they didn't get the message. So they didn't enforce it in Texas. So they had to go down there and actually enforce it and let the slaves in Texas know that we got rid of this shit 2.5 years ago. They still been holding y'all. So it became a celebration of the actual end of chattel slavery here in America. Now, the other day, I had a brother hit me up on Instagram. Good brother. He hit me up and he was talking about me designing a t-shirt for Juneteenth and putting that up on my site. And the struggle that I'm having, that I continue to have, is I don't see the freedom that was, I guess, supposed to be understood after slavery was abolished here in the so-called United States. So, and then when I looked at some other designs, because I don't never want to do, something somebody else has done. So I'm looking at Juneteenth t-shirts, and they say things like free-ish, since 1865, or, kind of free, and, it's kind of things like that. And to me, I'm looking at that like I wouldn't want to wear free-ish. That's not something to be necessarily proud of. As you were to wear something that says free-ish or kind of free, or whatever the fuck you're gonna wear like that. So I struggle with what black people are actually celebrating. And let me go ahead and say that I most definitely agree that I would rather see black people congregating, cooking out, or doing whatever we're going to do in celebration of Juneteenth than I would for a so-called Independence Day, which is July 4th, which is typically July 4th, which is typically where we put all of our energy. It's typically been put into July the 4th, celebrating that. So I'd much rather see black people celebrating June 19th. But when we're talking about freedom and what freedom is, I would argue that on June 19th, 1865, and really, if you go January 1st, 1963, that was when black people, our ancestors, the former slaves, many former slaves, became, in a war state. Now, we didn't realize this because we thought, they just gonna let us be free and we can go on out here about our business. What we have learned is that isn't true. Wasn't true then, isn't true now. We're still fighting for our freedom to this day. We're still fighting to be recognized as, the people who built this country and who were treated like shit, even as they freed us, still being treated like shit, still not getting the recognition. We're still having to tell them that our lives matter and try to convince them of such. We're still in that same struggle. So, the celebration of Juneteenth, I think, should be framed properly as to not celebrate freedom, because if you ask me, I would argue that no one, except for a rich cave, can celebrate any type of freedom. That's only a rich cave where we're talking about true and actual freedom. So, when I look at that, and when I see t-shirts and the things that are said about Juneteenth, and I see shirts with, they have hands with the shackles have been broke from our hands, but then I would argue that the privatized prison complex, it's the same type of situation. It just changed faces. They changed their methodology slightly. And, the shackles, to me now, a lot of them are on our minds due to the propagandizing of this entire society, and due to us passing down, this self-hate and coon shit down generation through generation through generation. So, it's been very difficult for me to try to come up with something for, a t-shirt for Juneteenth that will be something to be proud to wear. Because, like, play free since 1865. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I think we should frame it for what it was. It was the end of chattel slavery, or, it's the end of chattel slavery here in this country, but the beginning of an all-out war. The beginning of an all-out war on our people. What we must understand as well is that this is the formulation of the KKK. This is when all of these things happened, is after we were let off of the plantations. So this terror, the Jim Crow, the black codes, and the way this so-called justice system treats our people, the new form of slavery, as Michelle Alexander deals with so well, as to them, having convict leasing, and our men and women filling up the prisons, and it's just, we're still at war. We're not free yet. And I think that Juneteenth should be a reminder for our people that we still have a lot of work to do, even as we congregate to celebrate, celebrate the ending of chattel slavery. Do not celebrate freedom, because that's inappropriate to me to celebrate some type of freedom if you are a black man or woman in this country. It is an illusion. It is a falsehood. It is a fallacy, and we shouldn't be celebrating freedom. We should celebrate for what it was. This was the end of phase one. We're still fighting. We've been through several phases here in this country. If you study the history, we've been through several phases, and I think that was just the end of phase one. And we need to use Juneteenth in the celebration, whether you're going to use the day or some people will celebrate the entire week. As I told y'all, I'm in this shit every day. And, I don't wait for a day to be proud of my blackness. I think this is something that we should be doing all the time. This is why I say black first, second, and third. This is why I push that narrative, and I push that mentality. I push that ideology, because I think it's something that we should be doing all the time. Not just during Juneteenth. We shouldn't be just supporting. I've seen people say, well, let's support black businesses during Juneteenth. This is what we should be doing anyway. Juneteenth and beyond. And understand that we are still in that fight, and we must highlight the fact that we're still in that fight, and there's plenty of work to be done to liberate the black mind and to liberate our people in this country and all over the world. So I think that should be the focus of Juneteenth. I don't think there's really nothing, celebratory to being free-ish. I don't think that's something that we should be joking about or making light of, or, it's actually an insult, and it shows you the climate that has been created here in America. 3Ks don't get this shit fucked up incorporated. It should frame how, from 1863, Texas didn't get the memo, then we get to 1865, and here we are in so-called 2020, and we're still trying to fight, for reparations. I think that should be a conversation that we have not only at Juneteenth, but we should have that conversation at all times to frame the work that our people put in this country, to frame the atrocities that this country has put our people through. I think that should be something that we're doing all the time, not just during Juneteenth, not just during Black History Month. This is something we should be doing all the time as we congregate to celebrate and understand. If you're going to be wearing that Pan-African flag, understand what it means, understand what it stands for. You just have to understand these things, and to make sure we're not just doing stuff just to be doing it. So I think that a matter of education should be taken, or a matter of educating our people during this time, and to keeping our foot on the gas and staying focused. I think that should be what we focus on. I have yet to come up with a t-shirt for Juneteenth, because the only thing I can think of to say is they ended chattel slavery in 1865, but we still at war. That's the only thing I can think of, and that may be enough. People may like that, but that's probably that's the only thing I can think of to accurately depict what the situation really is. There was an illusion of freedom. There's been an illusion of freedom several times with us. The Emancipation Proclamation, and then the Civil Rights Act as well. Integration. There's been several illusions that we've fallen for, we've been okay with. So I think now we should take this Juneteenth to recognize that we need to put our foot on the fucking gas, both feet on the fucking gas, and not let up, and pass this ideology down to our children. So y'all let me know what y'all think. I know y'all motherfuckers probably think I'm crazy as fuck, but I promise you, I struggle in my mind with so much, because I don't like symbolism. I don't, I really don't like that. Although I do like our people congregating on something that's not the 4th, I really think we should use this time to focus. I think we should use this time to direct and really be clear where we stand. I think that's what this time should be used for, because we're not free. And I'd be damned if I'm going to wear a shirt that says free-ish or something like free or anything that makes light of freedom. I won't do that. But y'all comment, let me know what the fuck y'all think. If y'all think I'm crazy as fuck or disagree or whatever, that's fine. You can leave your comments in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Links to follow me on social media in the description box. Black first, second, and third. And we doing this shit all the time. This is no breaks. This is constant. It's a lifestyle. It's what it is. Shout out to Rob. Y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.